You
Adam, welcome to the Main Event Podcast, 6 p.m. Wednesday night, but we are not live on Facebook or anything.
Nope, we are recording for later consumption.
The old-fashioned way is what I call it.
But we're on time, though. I mean, so that's private.
Right? So, brand new computer. We bought all this equipment. Second week in a row, we've had problems. Last week, I was able to figure it out. Tonight, computer won't even turn on. So,
just does not like you at all.
No. Pretty much hates my life. But what else is new? Just things don't want to work for me.
I do not want to be the guy at Best Buy when you go bring that back.
Right?
I will not be applying at the Best Buy anytime soon.
It's going to be something ridiculous, too. But anyway.
The power cord is not
powered.
powered.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's going to be the power cord, I predict.
It's going to be awful. But so anyway, we're recording live. I posted on Facebook. We're recording. We'll be live on Facebook starting next week again. Adam, well, we all woke up Sunday morning, started our morning. You texted me at about lunchtime because I went to lunch. So it had been like 12:30 with a shot of TMZ's announcement. And I asked you if that was real or not. And you were like, I don't see it anywhere else. And I said, TMZ's normally not wrong on this stuff. And it started filtering out. Kobe Bryant, of course, and 8 other souls perished in a helicopter accident outside of Calabasas, California on Sunday morning. How did that affect you there?
Yeah, I was kind of being lazy on Sunday and just was scrolling through Facebook and then saw it like it was posted like a minute before. And like I was kind of just like, no, seriously? So then I'm like on Google and I'm like, okay, I'm typing in it, and it's like, then all of a sudden, like a couple minutes later, a couple other people are basically just following TMZ's lead on it.
Everybody, TMZ's site crashed because so many people were trying to get info from that site, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was shocking though. It's one of those like, and then you hear like the stories of, his daughter it just all like kind of just trickled down where it was like kind of, I mean,
it was bad enough that it was Kobe, but then my first thought was, I hope his whole family wasn't on there. And then it comes out that, his 13-year-old daughter, Gianna, died in the crash. They're en route to his basketball camp. They had a tournament that weekend. There were 8 other people besides Kobe on the helicopter. John and Carrie Altabelli, who have their own story, right? John Altabelli is a huge baseball guy, well-respected he's a legend in the baseball community. Was manager of the Carolina
Coastal,
minor league team from, I don't have it in front of me, 2001 to 2012. He was over at Orange County Community College. Well-known. A lot of pros went through his system. A lot of pros know him. His wife was on the plane. Their daughter didn't have her age, but I'm assuming it's close to age as Kobe's daughter, Gianna, because they were going to that tournament. A couple other people, Sarah Chester and her daughter, Peyton. Christina Mauser, who was an assistant coach on the team that Kobe coached. And then, of course, the pilot, Ara Zobayan. I was trying to find somebody who pronounced that to help me out, so I apologize to him. But 9 people on the helicopter, foggy morning. It's looking more and more like basically the age-old issue where you flew when you probably shouldn't have into mountains and all that stuff. But obviously we won't have anything till later. So you don't know this about me, Adam. But I grew up like a huge Lakers fan. And I actually kind of separated myself from the Lakers a little bit when Kobe was there, especially after the Colorado incident. I just felt he was selfish and wasn't the biggest fan of his at all. Like, he was a great basketball player, but I was just never a huge fan of his. But the thing I did like, I was telling you that his last game was, 2016. It feels like it was yesterday for me and everything. But I just wasn't the hugest basketball fan of his. Like, great player, definitely Hall of Famer, dominated the league, but he was just selfish. Like, being out here in Phoenix, and I was going to ask you about Chicago in a minute, we'd see him play. And there were some years in the playoffs where he just quit playing. Like, he refused to go into a playoff game. It was game 6 or 7 against the Suns, those Steve Nash years. And he refused to go into the game in the fourth quarter because, they were losing and he didn't get his way. So he basically, pouted on the sideline, right? and the Lakers got eliminated. But the thing that I, subconsciously I knew, but I didn't like was I liked him a lot after his playing years because of what he's done for the community, his daughter's life, his daughter's basketball, his family, all of that stuff. So I respected him definitely more in terms of, following him and enjoying his stuff after basketball. But anytime a 41-year-old who seems invincible, right, goes down like this, it's heart-wrenching in any Met. But then, like you said, for me, I have a 9-year-old daughter. Like, that's just the worst part of it, because then you start thinking about what you would do in that situation and all that stuff, and it's just enough to just tear anybody apart, which is what you see with all these grown men that we all grew up with watching in the NBA. Shaq, even Charles Barkley, who didn't know him that well as everybody else. And all these just grown men just sitting on the bench and crying over it. It just shows you the impact he had on their lives. So you being from Chicago, obviously not a West Coast, obviously Suns fans, we got to see Kobe a lot, especially when he was younger. Any memories of him playing the Bulls or anything? Or was it just all you saw more in the playoffs? What's the deal with that?
Pretty much saw him more in the playoffs. I mean, with the West Coast, with the time changes, it's 2-hour games. It's starting at 9 o'clock Central Time, and I was always on that early morning schedule. So I was ESPN highlights of Kobe for the most part, unless he was playing the Bulls.
And he gave you a lot of highlights.
Yeah, definitely did. I mean, one of those players that you do hear that came out, that he was selfish in ways and demanded a lot from his, other players on the team and stuff. He flirted with Chicago a couple times about becoming a Bull.
And he's from, grew up in Philly, so he had that connection there.
2004, before Shaq decided that he would be traded, Kobe was close to a sign and trade deal.
Shaq was already in L.A. when Kobe went there and was drafted, wasn't he?
Right, and then they weren't getting along, and Shaq got moved
because Phil Jackson was like, the ball goes through Shaq, and Kobe's ego, obviously, any young player that good wanted the ball to go through him. So that's where, they just fought all the time. But they still won 3 championships. They could have won 6 or 7.
Right, they definitely could have. And now you're hearing, I mean, obviously they must have mended fences here because with, Shaq, and you can't really hear a Kobe thing without Shaq these days.
Well, they made it up a long time ago. Where the rift came in was obviously the hard feelings on the basketball court, where the ball went through Shaq and Kobe didn't think it should, right? But then, when Kobe got in that Colorado incident, where he had to deal with that legal stuff, which we're not even going to address. There's another time to address that. Kobe's legacy. Like right now is not the time to do that.
No, it's not. Definitely not.
But then, making those comments to the police, like I should have just paid her off like Shaq does, to the police officers, and that comes out in the report.
Wasn't he? Did he do a rap thing too?
Shaq did.
Shaq did, right? Okay. Yeah. For some reason I couldn't really remember, but I thought I remembered hearing.
But if you watched the TNT, tribute they did to him last night, Shaq made it clear that he considered him brother. Kobe, texted Shaq's kids, like one of them's in college, and he texted him the morning of Sunday morning asking him how he's doing. Their kids knew each other, stuff like that, but they weren't necessarily close. I guess if you watch that, they talked when they ran into each other, but they didn't like pick up the phone and check on each other and stuff like that. But anytime, no matter how much it's like a band, right? So like take Aerosmith, right? Like when one of the Aerosmith guys die, like no matter how bad Joe Perry and Steven Tyler hate each other, they're going to be really upset when one of them goes, right? The other one that's alive is going to be really upset. No matter how much you hate somebody, you go through all this stuff, you win championships and everything. It's going to go through that type of a thing on there. But, it's just, like I said, it hit me more because, I'm kind of a blunt guy. I look at life bluntly.
Don't say it. Yeah. Say it ain't so.
I look at life bluntly, like it's black or white kind of. And, people die in helicopter crashes, and stuff like that. So, yeah, it sucks that he's gone, and it's a horrible thing, and you don't want to see it. But what just hurts me more is just all these kids that went too,
Yeah,
it's just like,
that's the part that bothers me more. Like, I get it sucks Kobe's gone, but, had a hell of a life in 40, for his.
Well, just reading, I knew he had the Oscar last year for his thing there. Just what he's doing with that Mamba basketball academy is huge. I knew about that too. But then just all the other stuff. I mean, he was going to make a huge difference in this world with just his stuff and all that stuff. And like I said, just having a daughter, and you don't have a daughter, right?
No, not that I know. Not that I'm acknowledging at this particular time and juncture.
So, I mean, that's what just tears me up, is just thinking like, my first thought was, oh my God, like you're going, hopefully they didn't know what was happening, because.
Well, they say that didn't, the helicopter didn't come apart in the air or anything. It was all on the ground.
It smacked right into the ground, which tells me they probably didn't know, which is, oh, thank goodness, because I couldn't imagine sitting next to your daughter knowing what's coming and, dealing with that type of a thing. Oh, Lordy.
For me, the hardest, like the thing that got to me the most was what the UConn women's team did.
Yeah, I mean,
that got to me. Like, I was wow, that is really, wow. I didn't even know, like, that girl was
something
like,
with her jersey, right?
Number 2? They put number 2 on the bench.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow, that was like, this girl was 13 and knew what she wanted and where she was going. And I don't even know what I want and where I'm going.
Well, that was the thing was, and I can speak to that, like me in Ireland, we have, like, she loves to write. She loves videoing stuff. Like the other day, she was asking me how to find an editor because she wants to write a book and get an editor. So, like, when you have something in common, especially with your daughter, like, it's just a special bond there. And obviously, basketball connected those two very well. And I'm not saying it's not like that with his other kids or anything. But, like, me and Ethan don't have that. He's into video games and stuff, and I'm not all big into that stuff. Like, but then the daughter part is just totally different. It just kills you inside when you see all that stuff.
I don't have a daughter, but my oldest son, Zach, man, we connected through baseball. There was just, from 8 years up until sophomore year of college, it was baseball. Like, literally, my work schedule revolved around baseball. Like, we'd leave on Thursday night at, like, midnight and be in tournaments Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Like, it was nonstop. It was like how the game, like, even just at that time frame, just how travel baseball changed and everything was just like, life revolved around that.
Yeah, like
it definitely on a different level. Kobe, I'm not comparing the two at all. I'm just saying that just that bond of, like, it's weird, the sports bond. Like, me and my dad weren't, like, really close.
Well, it just doesn't have to be
but it's
sports.
Just, I mean, just when you have a common bond.
Yeah, no,
it's just like
it's that common
when there's
bond.
that bond,
I'm sure he had a bond with his 17-year-old daughter, and I'm sure he had a bond with his younger daughter, and obviously the 7-month-old, on there. But then they just had that special connection with basketball.
Did you see the thing that him and Vanessa were never on the helicopter together?
If that's true, I believe that.
I totally believe that. Yeah. I mean, and you hear like more that you hear that story from, like, what is it? What is the word I'll just say rich people. There's a word I was looking for. I can't find it, but like
affluent.
Affluent. That's what I was looking for. And they, you hear that story that they don't, fly on the same flights. CEOs and CFOs don't fly on the same flights with business.
2 different planes. Presidents and vice presidents aren't on the same plane.
Right.
And so they went that way. I mean, accidents happen. There's no doubt about it. The thing that also tears me up on this stuff is, like, it was a foggy morning. Just drive, why risk it, right? And I know that area very well.
Is this one of those things where the pilot didn't want to go or something?
No, they're looking into that. That's
what I mean. Was it Kobe say,
But I just hope to God that.
Can you see it, though? I could see it, though, right? I mean, I could see Kobe say, we're going. Let's go.
Yeah.
You're on my dime. Let's go.
Yeah, and I hope to God that doesn't. If that's true, I hope it doesn't come out. That's not,
and I'm just jumping. I'm just. Whatever.
No, they're looking into that because will
the black box pick that up though?
No, they don't have a black box on it.
Oh, okay.
It was retrofitted, but it's a 1991, so they weren't private aircraft, and in that age frame didn't have any of that stuff.
Okay.
But what they do have, especially in Southern California, is they have to be in touch with air traffic control. They have the boxes for GPSs to show you where you go. Like, they had all of that stuff before. They knew a helicopter crashed, and people in the NTSB were already gathering that stuff. So They knew where it went. The air traffic controllers obviously had conversations. Like, you can listen. I did it, and I told you, I was like, don't listen to that stuff unless you are a strong person, because nothing bad happened in that helicopter, because that pilot was totally professional.
He was calm, right?
Yeah, he was like, where do I go from here? And they were like, climb above the deck. So he went high, and then he disappeared. and obviously slammed into a mountainside probably. And it was just an aviation mistake. But how many superstars? It doesn't happen as much today because airplanes and helicopters are more reliable than it used to be. But how many superstars have we lost due to aircraft flying when they're not supposed to, not the right maintenance being done, and stuff like that? And it's just if there's any doubt, don't go up, right? I don't know. That's just how I feel about it.
Yeah, I would definitely. And I think that I don't think you'll be seeing – this is going to be like a harsh – I don't think you'll see something where it's iffy like this again because it's going to be fresh in people's minds for a long time now, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean –
like when these superstars are getting on their private planes and it's foggy and, well, I don't know if we should go – they're going to say on the side of caution now.
Especially in the basketball world, on there. Because, I mean – commercial airplanes that have the technology to fly through fog get grounded for fog, especially San Francisco, for instance. So on there, but the pilot was experienced, and it just, it's just accidents happen, right? It's your time to go. It's your time to go. But it's just like, man, you could have driven that 2 hours, especially on a Sunday morning,
Yeah.
Drive that 2 hours, but, and it just goes from there. But it's just tears at you. And so the nice thing about it is just not just the NBA field, but he touched so many people outside of basketball that hopefully will continue. And like I said, he just turned into, all accounts, this great guy from, after he retired with all of the stuff he's doing, who he helps. I was reading a story about a baseball player that pulled his Achilles, and his agent knew Kobe. He used to be an agent or work for the agency. So he gave him Kobe's email and said, just email Kobe and maybe he's got some doctors that can help you out or whatever. So the guy emailed him. Knew nothing about him or whatever. Like probably over-explained. And I don't remember who it was, but it's somebody that you've heard of if you watch baseball. And he was like, I didn't expect to hear back from him. I thought maybe a week or two I'd hear back from him. And he goes, I got to call back in 5 minutes with all the doctor's information that he went through. Because he had like a record recovery with that Achilles injury. And it wasn't only just the doctors to go see and talk to. It was also his phone number saying, text me if you need any help with anything. I will call them personally to help you out, and all that stuff. And so, I mean, anybody that's just willing to help people like that is just phenomenal. But that's the whole point of it is I think of him on the basketball court as this selfish, me player. And once he left the NBA, like that all just went away. And that's hard to do.
Yeah, I think he reinvented his personal image a lot. I've seen like the Ellen highlights so many times lately.
Yeah, you watch any of that stuff.
And you're like, this is a good guy. Like you kind of almost like you forget the Colorado situation and you kind of just like.
You forget that he sat down in the third and fourth quarter of the playoff game because he didn't want to play and all that. The one tweet that I did see, and I don't know who to attribute it to because I couldn't find it again, but it was said something like, Kobe went into the NBA as being the next Jordan, and he left the NBA being Kobe Bryant. And that, just that alone right there. But the next big thing, obviously, you got funeral arrangements, all of that stuff. And they identified him by fingerprints. That's how bad everything burned up on there and whatnot. But obviously, you got funeral arrangements. This is going to be a tough end of the NBA season this year because it's going to be a topic of subject, obviously, for all the NBA players. The Lakers-Clippers home game was canceled last night. The Lakers don't play again until Friday night at home against Portland. That's just going to be gut-wrenching to watch. I don't know how these guys play this.
Doing that one. And
if it was football, like I never got it, right? Like if it was football, I could get going out and playing football after like a big tragedy like Brett Favre and his dad dying because you have to go out and you have to be in this zone to play football, and you literally – once you walk between those lines, everything goes away.
Goes away, right.
But basketball, there's a lot of downtime. Like baseball, when something big happens in baseball, it's like, you'd be standing in right field. What are you thinking of? You could be thinking about something like that. So I don't know how these guys are going to go out there, and play at home. I kind of was like, I hope their first game was on the road because that at least get them back into the basketball mode. But even then, just the fans. I mean, Kobe owned Los Angeles. Like, people don't know that. Like, he owned Los Angeles. He was L.A. through and through. No matter what he did, it was related around Kobe. And just the fan base and the people in the crowd and everything. And it's like, ugh, lordy. It'd be a game that, would be tough to sit through, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, just Kobe's effect on the basketball world in general. I didn't realize, because like when you compare, it's always the MJ LeBron comparison, right? It's not the MJ Kobe comparison.
Well, not anymore because Kobe. But I mean, there's been that debate, especially when Kobe retired. Is LeBron number 2 behind MJ? And you have that debate, and then the thing that doesn't get Kobe to that level, I think, was his, I'm going to call it selfishness, where he would shoot. He was the best bad ball shooter on the planet, right? So he would take a bad shot and then make it. Whereas LeBron's more of a team type player, kind of like Michael was. Michael would dish the ball to Steve Paxson or somebody, and not go for that bad shot. Kobe would go for the bad shot,
Yeah.
and usually make it, but he would go for the bad shot. Ball's in my hands, it's my job to do it. Whereas LeBron's more like MJ. But yeah, I mean, I've seen those discussions on where Kobe stands. Like people talking about changing the logo. I mean, if the logo is going to change from Jerry West, it's got to go MJ, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it does. I mean, like, and
maybe LeBron, but I don't even think LeBron, to be honest with you. I think because MJ was so iconic, and Kobe's iconic too. I mean, but they were very similar players.
Yeah, they were definitely very similar players, and like Monday night I put the Bulls game on and I was watching, and it's just like the amount of like purple and gold that was in there was insane. Like you never see that at a Bulls game. The Bulls crowd is a Bulls crowd. You don't see like the other team taking over the stadium at any point in time.
Yeah, right.
And just like the amount of the amount of Kobe stuff that was out there was just insane.
Well, it's everywhere, right? I mean, Nike sold out of all of its Kobe gear by Monday morning, so much so that the rumor was that they pulled it all, but they sold out of it. That's how many people Sunday logged in and ordered LeBron, Kobe stuff. And he has a new shoe coming out this year that now they're trying to decide if they're going to release it as is, or if they're going to hold it and release it for like a tribute. Obviously, he's getting voted into the Hall of Fame. I think next year is his eligibility year. He's the first ballot Hall of Famer regardless, but now especially he's going to be in there on that type of, emotional thing on that. But just, I was thinking about this the other day, and it's like every once in a while something happens in the world where you get rocked, right? So like Michael Jackson dying was like a huge deal to, I'm 42, you're, 38, right?
Yeah. Depending on which dating site you're on, Steve, just relax on that one, okay? That's taboo information.
We grew up with Michael Jackson, right? So when he left us, it was a huge deal. Like whether you're a fan
where
or not,
you were at, right? I mean,
yeah.
You know where you're at for that. You know where you're at for that.
The other day where I was.
Right. I was at a Westdale baseball for Zach, and I think it's that. You remember where you were when OJ was in the Bronco, right?
Yeah.
I was at a Firestone getting an oil change watching it on TV.
But and that's the interesting thing is every once in a while something like this happens where it's shocking. But I was telling you earlier, like, and I'm not hoping this happens, but I said if Michael Jordan, if you wake up tomorrow morning and Michael Jordan's no longer with us,
somebody's doing the morning show because I'm not even able to focus.
But you're going to be upset, but you're not going to be shocked upset, right? Because he's an old man.
How old is Michael? He's got to be he's not that old.
50, I mean, late 50s, early 60s.
He's that old,
right?
I don't know. For me, he's always going to be young.
Like
to me. It's always going to be Michael. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm not saying it's not going to be shocking. I'm just saying you're going to be like, well, he lived to be 60 or whatever, right? Like, Wilt Chamberlain died, right? And it was a big deal to like my parents and my parents' generation and their generation above because they grew up with him. And that's what you're dealing with here with Kobe, especially with the media people, right? A lot of these media people that are big NBA people right now, they started in the business in 95, 96 when Kobe was 17, 18, 19 years old, And so they literally grew up with Kobe in the NBA.
Michael's 56.
56. Yeah, I think he was pushing 60. So, I mean, he's still too young. It'll still be shocking. But I was trying to think of a basketball player that's Julius Erving, right?
Right. I think it's how Kobe went. I mean, he went on in a helicopter. It's not like it was like Walter Payton when he died. Everybody knew how sick he was. It was coming. You see the deterioration. When you don't see the deterioration, when it's not a news story that so and so has whatever, when it's shocking death, that's when it's like, wow, that hits hard.
Exactly, and it's just the timing, but like I said, it also has to do with like to me when MJ goes, it's going to be depressing for me because he was before Kobe for me, right?
Yeah.
But even then, Kobe went into the league. Kobe's my age. So he went into the league. Like I graduated high school, and a year later, Kobe was in the league. So I literally have grown up watching Kobe play for the Lakers, and for 20 years, and then retire. So I have that relationship with him. That, like I said, a lot of the media do. Like when LeBron, and hopefully in 50 years when LeBron goes, I'm not going to have that same relationship with LeBron because he came to the league when I was older.
Right.
And I didn't follow it as closely. Like I was, watching the Lakers then. I was going home and, no, Lakers are playing tonight or whatever. And I'm not doing that as much with LeBron or Steph Curry, But my kids' age are a little bit older that when Steph Curry and all that, that's who they're growing up with. So it's going to be a totally different relationship with them on there type of a thing. So because like my daughter loves Michael Jackson, like loves his music. She plays it all the time.
I remember when that started.
right. I know. I rue the day. And
regret that trip.
and and she just talks about him like, oh, he was a great singer, blah blah blah. And then like in my mind, I'm going, no, he was freaking phenomenal. And whether you liked him or not, he was just his all time. Ireland will never get what Michael Jackson meant to the world with his songs and what he did and all that stuff. She'll never get that side of it. Whereas I get it, obviously. That's all I'm trying to say is there's a rarity that somebody goes where, you have that relationship with them and everything. So, well, let's move on. Obviously, NBA is dealing with that and everything. I mean, the All-Star Game's coming up, right? That's going to be a huge tribute to Kobe on that weekend. Like I said, his Hall of Fame induction is going to be coming up in the next year or two. That's going to be huge on that. My favorite part was because I guess Kobe and David Stern, I don't know. I'm going to use the word didn't get along, but that's probably not accurate. But they had a lot of battles, right?
Right.
So I was reading how, because David Stern just passed away, in December, I think. So they were saying like when Kobe showed up to the gates of heaven and David Stern went, shit.
Did you see the meme though of Kobe and like with the two guys with the halo and he's like, you guys annoying already.
Right. Well, I mean, like I was watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine the other day, like a past season. I just randomly was on an episode. It was an episode where one of the cops, every time he shoots something into the trash can, he always goes, Kobe. And he did that, and I was just like, whoa, like, wow. That was like Tuesday or Monday or something.
Did that in St. Jordan. So, yeah, I think it's a thing, you just paper basket. Jordan.
Yeah, well, like anything you throw away, people yell Kobe, So, and then I didn't even think about that, and then he did that on that show, and I was all, ooh. That's going to change everything there. So, but anyway, we'll obviously have some updates on that as they come available. And World lost a good guy, great basketball player, great guy. And also, like I said, I'm on the baseball side and all of that stuff. So, no more surprises. My favorite thing was people are posting and saying, like, 2020 sucks already. And it's like, this happens all the time. Like, people did not die in January of 2019.
Right.
So, it's just like, oh my gosh. So, let's go Major League Baseball because that's getting ready to go here. Speaking of that, I saw Garrett Cole show up at the Orange County Community College baseball game the other night because it was the first game since obviously their coach perished on Sunday on there. So I thought that was a cool feature, cool little thing for Garrett Cole to do, to go out there and heal with those guys. I guess he knew him. I guess he came up through a system there. And we talked last week about this cheating scandal, Adam. And, Dusty Baker, the Red Sox and the Houston Astros didn't have a manager position. I just let the cat out of the bag. Dusty Baker, official today, gets the Astros job, leaving only the Red Sox job still open. Red Sox have to be going with somebody on the staff at this point. They just have to be, because they're literally reporting in 10 days.
Yeah, you would think that they have to be doing something. I mean, I think that what the Astros did here is a good move for them because Dusty's a good, he's not a great manager by, little over 500.
Check out this stat, though. From ESPN Stats and Information, Twitter, Dusty Baker is one of 3 MLB managers to take 4 different teams to the postseason, along with Billy Martin and Davey Johnson. If the Astros make the postseason under Baker, he'll become the first manager in Major League Baseball history to take 5 different teams to the postseason. And the Astros should make this playoffs.
Yeah, they definitely should. They're still, Vegas has them as the favorites.
They're not going to win as many games because I think they're going to struggle coming out as they find, their feet so-and-so as they get through this and they adjust. Once they get used to what's going to happen to them on the road, I think, they'll go down there. But, I mean, Dusty Baker is known for what? Ruining pitchers. Houston has older pitchers.
Yep. Pryor Wood throwing the towel around.
Right?
Yeah, no, he is known for that.
Verlander's arm, got some age in it.
Does he defer to Houston's pitching coach on this? That's
what I don't know. Obviously, they hired him because he's going to be a level force or a level even keel energy type deal. He's going to, he's going to command respect from the players. I don't necessarily know if like I said, if you went Buck Showalter, nobody's going to talk about cheating moving forward. With Dusty Baker, I'm not sure. I'm sure.
Are you saying Dusty's a little?
Yeah, I'm saying
does he come on?
He's a little soft. I don't know how he's going to handle that. And I saw 3 or 4 national baseball guys actually make that same comment. They're really curious how Dusty's going to handle players being asked constantly about the scandal. You know what's going to happen, right? Somebody in the stadium when a ball's pitched is going to hit a trash can, right? Like on the road. And they're going to hit it loud. And that's going to flare it all up again, right? It's going to, all the media afterwards is going to say, oh, trash can incident or whatever. So, I don't think it's a bad hire. I think he can definitely keep them steady, get them to the playoffs. I don't know. Like I said, I'm expecting him to kind of struggle at the beginning. They might start off the season hot, but they're going to struggle early in the season. Like they might come out just hair on fire just to prove to everybody, that they're a good team. But they're going to have a slump, I think, sometime in April. They're going to have a pretty big slump as they're adjusting to what's going to happen to them, everything. And Dusty Baker is a great guy to do that. Like I said, I'm more worried about the pitching side because you throw Verlander too long and he goes on the shelf for 60 days, or Zach Greinke. Zach Greinke's a unique guy.
Yeah,
Dusty Baker handle him.
What's unique with this deal, though? It's only a 1-year deal.
Yes.
With a team option for 2021. So, this is Dusty chasing the ring, right?
Oh, or the paycheck.
Well, I don't necessarily know that he needs a paycheck. But I think this is the equivalent of chasing the ring. It's a team built to win the World Series, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So he's definitely not the long-term answer in Houston.
The only thing they really lost was Garrett Cole.
Right.
Other than that, they're all there. And but Greinke's pretty much taking Cole's spot for this year. After this year, it's going to be interesting. Dusty Baker definitely is not a long-term solution.
Right.
For anybody. He's up there in age, been around for a long time. But at least gets them through this year with this window they have for the World Series to find somebody going into the future. Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's, but it's weird. I would have thought that, I just would have thought Houston would have won. I really thought they were going to go younger, just to, have that a new philosophy.
I don't think you can though, because you're dealing with all these veteran players. It's the Cubs syndrome, right? Where the Cubs win the World Series, and Madden is the greatest manager ever, right? He pushes all the buttons perfectly, and then the next year players stop listening, right, and everything. So you put a young guy in that situation, man. Forget about the players not listening to him. You need somebody that has the experience to.
Right, but with this generation of players, Dusty's 70 years old.
I know.
Are they? Be quiet, old man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you go out there, you're telling Greinke you got another inning in you, and he says yes, and you say no, and he goes off of there. How's that going to be handled in the clubhouse, kind of a thing? I'm interested in finding out, but even with that division, and I was thinking about it earlier. Once spring training starts here in a couple of weeks, we'll just once a week we'll go through and just break down the divisions and pick our division winners and whatever. But I was looking at this division. on there. I mean, nobody's going to touch the Astros even if they, lose 20 less games than they did before. Nobody's really touching them in that division.
You know what Dusty gets to do, right? He gets to manage the All-Star team.
Does he? It's not like hockey where if you're fired, you don't.
No,
go to the next
he
person.
will be. He's the new manager, has additional responsibility. Baker will manage the American League All-Stars in 2020.
Well, that's good. That's a good parting shot because obviously this is his, last hurrah in baseball. Absolutely. Yeah. So,
in 22 years of managing, just over 500, 532.
Everything I'm reading is telling me that the owner is going to make his players apologize for everything.
He just wanted,
I don't think that's going to make it go away, though.
It's kind of like...
It's admitting you did it, though.
Yeah, but I think that what it's going to... It'll be the story, and then it'll be the story at the beginning of spring training. It'll be the story at the beginning of the season, right? And then it's going to go away until the postseason, and then it picks back up.
Unless they start off really, really good or really, really bad, then you're gonna say,
if they start off bad, it's a nightmare.
Oh, it's gonna be a nightmare season for them. If they come out and they win one of their first 10, it's gonna be a nightmare because everybody's gonna say what? Oh, they can't win unless they're cheating. And that's going to be the conversation in the story on there. So they need to come out hot at the beginning. Like I said, once they get on the road, so many unknowns with the Astros, though, right? Like the first. I just think it's ridiculous. Fans that are going to go to the ballpark to boo the Astros when they come into town, I just think that's ridiculous at that point. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have a different opinion on cheating in baseball. So
if you're not cheating, you're not trying. Is that where that goes?
Yeah, it just annoys me how where the limit is, right? So you can't do video, which I believe more teams are doing it, but you can't do video surveillance of the pitches, right? That's bad. But Hall of Fame pitchers could do spitballs back in the day, and they're in the Hall of Fame, and they're considered great pitchers, right? One of my all-time early memories of baseball, and I don't remember what year it is, but a pitcher was on the mound in the playoffs, and the umpires go out there, and they ask him to empty his pockets, and I don't remember who it was. I don't remember the team. I don't remember the pitcher, anything. And he pulls his pockets out, and a little piece of sandpaper goes down, and hits the ground. And
that was what Raleigh Fingers thing, right?
Yeah.
With the sandpaper.
He was he was that. But who was the spitball guy? Was Raleigh Fingers the spitball guy?
He was one of the two. Yeah, I don't really.
But yeah, I mean, and I have a signed Raleigh Fingers deal where he puts HOF on it, and it's like he was one of the biggest cheaters back then. But I mean, Cal Ripken Jr., all these guys took greenies in order to get out onto the field every day. Greenies, by nature, are a performance-enhancing drug because they take your soreness away, they give you your energy, and they allow you to get out. So that's acceptable, in the eyes of baseball. But this other thing, and it just drives me nuts how these limits are in there with baseball. It makes zero sense. You're either cheating is bad or cheating is not bad. You can't have this stuff's cheating. Like stealing signs. Oh, it's just part of the game, right? As long as you don't use electronics, stealing signs is part of the game. It's cheating. Why is that acceptable, but something like this is not acceptable? Drives me nuts. Drives me batty. Hate it.
Yeah, I can see that. You got a little flustered on that one.
I'm going to keep arguing about it now. What do you think about Major League Baseball toying with the Robo Umpire thing for spring training only?
You know what? I'm not a fan of it. You implemented the instant replay, which is good. I'm okay with that. But like balls and strikes, there's as long as it's there. To me, it's just taking the edge away. I like it. I don't like I
like the human element.
Yeah, I just think it's just something that I don't think that you need. I mean, it's just something I'm not a fan of at all.
No, they're just testing it. It's going to be done in minor league baseball throughout the season, which they've already done. And all it is the ball goes across, a light lights up, and then the umpire calls the ball or strike, on there. But I just feel like baseball, this is a whole nother, goes with the whole cheating thing, right? Is umpires have different strike zones, and umpires call different things. And
Who's the announcer going to get mad at? He can't get mad at Joe West if it's a computer. I mean, come on.
But
damn computer!
Even going to the replay thing, there were instances last year where replay was done and the umpires go over and they put the headsets on, and it's blatantly a bad call, and then they're like, "Oh, call upheld," and they walk off because they don't want the thing. You got to take it out of the umpire's
Do you like
hands.
that they're going to be mic'd this year? That they got to explain what happened?
Well, you mean after the game?
No, during the
game.
Yeah, they're gonna
I didn't see that.
It's gonna be like football where
yes.
they're gonna be like the call on the field.
They need to be not in some hidden closet after the game where they talk to one, like the NFL. They have a pool reporter. That one guy can go into a room and talk to him. No, those umpires need to sit on a panel with people just peppering them with questions on what they were doing and make them explain themselves. Because let's be honest, I can go out there, whether I do it on purpose and I make a bad call. It's a lot easier to make that bad call and then not have to face people to talk about it. It's a whole nother thing if I make that bad call and then I'd be sitting there going, "Oh, crap. I got to explain this." Like start thinking of what you're going to explain, I feel like that baseball needs to implement that stuff. But yeah, if they have to explain it, but who are they explaining it to? I'm confused.
It's going above the PA. It's going to be like football where they make, the call on the
that's
field,
gonna be nasty.
the call on the field,
I don't like that at
is
all.
confirmed or what, you know what I mean? Like they'll have to give an explanation to it.
Oh, I don't like that at all. You think an umpire is going to go, I don't have to explain it to you guys. I'm the umpire. Get out of here.
I'm
Shut
Joe
up.
West.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have to explain anything to you. I saw it the way I saw it. What are you going to do? What are you going to do about it? It's ridiculous how people do all that. But so we'll have more baseball news, obviously, as spring training is getting ready to kick off here, especially in Arizona and Florida here. But Adam, Sunday night, beginning of the 2020 season. Big exciting news. We previewed it last week. The WWE Royal Rumble.
Yes, it was the Royal Rumble. My prediction
that?
did not come true at all.
Nope. I told you. CM Punk is not coming out.
Nope. No CM Punk. No Ronda Rousey.
No Ronda Rousey. No, who was the other guy? The movie guy.
Batista.
No.
John Cena.
John Cena. He didn't show up. I told you, he's going to show up at WrestleMania, but he ain't showing up for that,
Yeah.
on that type of a deal.
I did get Edge right.
You got Edge.
I did say Edge right.
Here's the other thing. So they announced he signed a 3-year deal with WWE. So he's back, but it's for big shows only. He's not going to be going
25 appearances a year on TV.
Yeah.
3 matches a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, Edge is, and it's what, $3 million or something like that? I saw?
Yeah.
I mean, it's it's good money.
I was reading that AEW made him an offer.
And then Vince
WWE was like,
you come back here.
You're coming back to wrestling. You're coming here. What does it take for you to come here? I was reading that today on that because I was like, why just after like what?
10 years.
10 years, 11 years.
Well, he was like, didn't get medically. Like, he just got medically cleared recently.
But doesn't his wife wrestle?
Yeah, his wife is Beth Phoenix.
Yeah, okay, there. Yeah, so she's on the WWE. I just don't like how guys that their wives are in WWE and then like one of them's going to go to AEW. Like,
well, that's
Adam
what
Cole
with like
and,
Adam Cole, and you got Renee with John Moxley.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. Like, I don't get that at all. That would be like, Rusev going to AEW and Lana staying in WWE. It's
right.
Like, that's awful. So Edge is back.
Well,
obviously.
AEW offers insurance, so I mean it makes sense.
Right?
The whole family gets covered then.
There was big news this week where Becky Lynch. It all came out that because her contract's up, everybody assumed at the end of this year, and so everybody was saying she was going to make a big announcement that she re-signed back up. And I was reading $1 million a year plus expenses and stuff like that. And then she came out on Twitter and totally threw that down and said, I haven't re-signed yet. And my contract's up sooner than the end of the year.
Yeah, it's up shortly after WrestleMania.
Yeah, it's outrageous how they do that, right?
Yeah.
Oof. She's got all the leverage.
Well, what they do is, like, with these contracts, a lot of them, I mean, when Becky signed her original contract, she wasn't the man.
She was nobody.
Right.
Yeah.
So now, like, what they did is those contracts almost all revolve around the end of WrestleMania. Because that's when WWE like cuts people and sends, fires them and wishes them well in their future endeavors, which basically means have fun at AEW at this point, right?
At this point, yeah. Or if you're part of the Lucha Libre crowd, then have fun down in Mexico.
Right, go back to AAA.
AAA down there. That's what I was trying to think of.
And then we got Drew McIntyre coming back. getting the big push.
I told you before that I had a feeling they're pushing Drew McIntyre at the beginning of this year, and you guys, you and somebody else was totally poo-pooing that.
No, I wasn't on board with it. But I'll tell you what, at the end of that match, when he got cheered as much as he did, I think more of the cheers were because Roman Reigns did not win the Royal Rumble.
So I read afterwards, and one of the guys that follows wrestling and has an in, I don't remember the name or anything, that Roman Reigns was supposed to win.
Right, and Paul Heyman changed it at the end.
They changed it almost right before they all went out. So, I mean,
it was something with they didn't like the react. Like, they were hoping for a better reaction during his match with King Corbin, and they didn't get it, and they did not want to leave Houston with the boo party that they received a few years ago.
Same thing with Charlotte Flair. She wasn't supposed to win the Women's Royal Rumble, and she did.
I don't know what they're doing with that one, though. I don't want to see Becky Charlotte again for the 15th time.
I don't think you're going to.
And I really don't want to see her and Bayley. So, I mean, I'm here. I saw some rumors of her going after the NXT title. And that
Charlotte?
Yeah, Charlotte going back to that. And that would be a good match.
Not for WrestleMania, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who's Drew McIntyre going to take on?
He's going after Brock.
Yeah,
he's already said it. Yeah.
He said
I mean, the stare down with the two of them was great, though.
So that's what I want to talk about was, you know me, I'm a wrestling fan. I watch it. I pay attention to it, but I don't, I'm not fanboy where I sit there, like most of my sports, I don't sit there and break it down like some people do, like you.
So you're saying my 15 pages a week of wrestling information is overkill?
And I was watching that Royal Rumble, and I get bored during the Royal Rumbles. Like last year we were there, and I get bored because
you were bored there.
you get 10 people in the ring, and you got 8 in the corners just hitting each other and like laying down and stuff, and you got the 2 focus guys you're focusing on, and it just goes. I feel like it goes on forever. And I felt that way about the women's one, where it was like, okay, let's
yeah.
And then Alexa Bliss went
me.
out, and that was an exciting part again. And then it went right back to there's too many people in the ring. You're not seeing it all. But the men's, I loved it. And I know some diehards did not, according to my Twitter feeds and everything. But I loved it. That Brock beating the first, 18 guys or 16 guys just pretty quickly. And then Drew McIntyre goes in and gets Brock knocked out. And then it kind of dragged a little bit because I even said it to you, and I put it on Twitter that it's not as fun. It was fun when Brock was doing it. It wasn't as fun when Drew was doing it.
Yeah, no, when Brock, you know what I think it was? Because Brock was smiling. Brock was having fun out there. The Sheldon Benjamin thing, if you didn't see it, was great. He's like, him and Brock are like pretty much best friends and on the road and everything else. And just like, I mean, Brock was having.
It's like, who's coming out next? And then he takes him out. But even the oh my gosh, I forgot his name. The big guy from NXT that was out there, and Brock, he's walking to the ring, and Brock's like, "Oh, you're a big guy,
right?" Keith or Lee when he came out there,
and then Brock, even when the ring, Brock's like, "Man, you're a big guy, man. You're probably gonna get a match here or whatever." So that's what made it so great. But just I know a lot of people don't like Brock Lesnar's character on there because he's all powerful and everything. But I thought that was brilliantly done. And then when the Edge came out and started eliminating all these people and then got down to the bottom 3 there, but I agree with you. And I was like, Roman Reigns cannot win this at all. And he got kind of booed when he came out, too, at 27 or 28?
Yeah, I was like, I had my hashtag anybody but Roman at that point. I was just over it. And you know what? And he's likable. Like, I saw him do the FS1 stuff at the Super Bowl stuff, and like, he was asking Kittle, who would win the Royal Rumble if the 49ers were in it.
So why do we all hate Roman Reigns so much?
I think it's because WWE pushed him down everyone's throat, and
I don't think he deserved it.
He didn't deserve it at the time, and it's a lot of his comments have been made where he's not a wrestling fan. He was never a wrestling fan. Like, even though it was built into his, he's come from the wrestling family and everything. But The Rock has always been a wrestling fan. You know what I mean? Like, these guys, when you come up and say, well, my paycheck, I like my paycheck.
Yeah.
That kind of just
rubs you the wrong
way.
But then his matches aren't. It might be the writing. It might be the story that they give him. But I don't think he's passionate in the ring. It's like he goes through the motions.
Yeah, and the whole, the beating leukemia thing wore off on him pretty fast. Like, He had the cheer he was so over after they made that announcement, and then he was fine for 6 months after he came back, and then it was now everyone's back to we don't like you, Roman, go away.
Yeah, oh yeah, but I hate when they flaunt that. I get it. You got leukemia, make it part of the storyline or whatever, but I just hate when they stop. That it turns you off when you start flying. You can't beat him. He's got leukemia. No, that's not how it works, and I don't like that storyline. But the other big news is obviously somebody got a first win against somebody that she's never beaten.
Yep, it was the first win for the man, right? I mean,
Becky Lynch against Osaka.
Yeah, taking care of.
The thing I liked most about that match was when she beat her, she got her in the face and the green mist went into. But then the thing I didn't like was Asaka was totally not affected by it. When Becky and everybody else gets the mist shoved in their face, they can't see.
Well, it's Asuka's mist, so she's immune to it.
Well, here's the question that I don't know. Answer this question. Are snakes immune to their own venom? If a snake bites another snake, do they get poisoned?
Do they have the immune system built up?
Poisoned?
Right. Yeah, we're hearing yes.
Yeah, studio audience saying yes. Poison frog that spits and takes your hand off, and poison frog, when they spit poison at another poison frog, does that poison frog die?
This is too deep. This is a wrestling segment. You're making me think too much.
My point is I think yes. I think you're still poisoned by it. You don't have an immunity. You have an immunity again. A rattlesnake's not snaking down the road, and then accidentally bites its lip and then dying because it poisoned itself. But if another rattlesnake bites him, does he get poisoned? Hence, I got deep on this because
I'm worried. I'm looking for the
green mist and isn't affected by it. Is that because it's her green mist, so she's not affected by it?
I'm going to go with yes. That's all. I'm just going to go with yes because it ends the storyline.
So, according to Google,
the Google machine,
if a snake is bitten by its own same species, it is not affected. But if it's bitten by a poisonous snake of another species, it is affected.
Because it makes sense.
If Osaka's goo isn't going to work, I always call it a goo, but her goo isn't going to work on herself. Okay, so that makes sense, but it drove me a little nuts. I wanted to see her flailing around in the ring a little bit, grabbing her eyes and screaming like Becky and everybody else had to do. So anyway, little detour there, but we got it solved. Thank you, Google.
Google has answered the questions.
Google and our studio audience. They helped us out on that one. So, so Becky finally goes, so that was the last storyline you really had for Becky, right? Was she had to be...
because now she's going to call out, she said she's going to name her who she's going after now.
And I feel it's the same thing like Charlotte, right? And even Bayley, even though Bayley's gone, dark, you got tired of those same storylines on that women's side. And now that Becky, I was kind of surprised that Becky won that because that storyline dies now.
Right, you could have kept it going with.
You could keep it going for 2-3 months.
She can't beat her.
Yeah, she can't do it.
Right.
They can do the ring work.
The man can't do it.
Becky just has to show up and do mic work in the ring about, Osaka's out there and wins, and then Becky can come out and talk for 5 minutes. She doesn't even have to get in the ring, and you can keep it going. Now it's where do you go with this?
Yeah. Well, we're going to see some different storylines develop in the next couple of weeks here because they're on the official road to WrestleMania.
Yes, they are. So that was Royal Rumble. College football, Adam. Not really much going on after the championship game except for big news. Ed Edgeron, that wasn't making that much money at LSU, gets his extension after winning the national championship.
Yeah, he does. He gets a 6-year, $42 million deal.
That's crazy.
Yep. I mean, very successful so
underpaid.
far. Yeah, he is probably in the great scheme of things. He's got a 40-9 record.
Yeah, so 40-9 record since taking over his head coaching duties at LSU.
4-1 in bowl games.
11-1 in the last 12 games against top 10 opponents. That's outrageous.
He already ranked. He's been in the LSU for 4 years. He's already number 6 in all, number 6
Uh-huh.
overall. That's he's got some good company there.
And you can't be mad at him for losing to Alabama, these last 3 or 4 years because everybody lost to Alabama. But there's several things. So there's several questions still. My favorite thing, being out here in the Pac-12, unless you're a USC fan, you don't like USC, and USC had him as a head coach when they fired somebody, Lane Kiffin or somebody. They fired somebody, and Ed Edgeron became the fill-in head coach for the rest of the season. And USC was like, "Oh, we can do better than you," And then they hire somebody that sucks now, right? So then he goes to LSU and gets the interim position when they get rid of. Look at me with all names all of a sudden. The guy that went to Kansas, and he gets that job, and then LSU's like, "Oh, we'll take a chance on you," and he wins them the national championship in dominating fashion.
Yeah, when LSU got rid of Les Miles.
Les Miles. There you go. Gosh. Names of me are just going there. But but here's the question. I'm glad he got paid. And it's a long contract too. It's 6 years.
Is it long in college though?
Well, here's why I think it's long.
Okay.
He's losing Joe Burrow. The reason why they were so great this year was they hired that new offensive coordinator that is now a Carolina Panthers offensive coordinator. So the guy that put the magic on that offense together, the two guys that put that magic together on that offense, Joe Burrow and the offensive coordinator, are gone. A lot of players have already declared for the draft. So basically there's rebuilding and then there's just restocking, right? They have a lot to overcome. So a 6-year deal at $42 million. But even then, I think it's still a bargain. So you can get out of that deal after year 2 or 3 if you don't like it.
But, schools like LSU, Alabama, Georgia, aren't they just so deep that they just
look at
next
Alabama
man
this
up?
year.
You know what I mean? It's
next man up, and then all of a sudden you lose 2 games and you're out. This is the only year. LSU's always lost 1 or 2 games, in these last several years and everything. On there. I don't know. I'm happy for the guy. It's great news to see. It's just, man, he's losing. Usually when you win the national championship, you have you might lose your quarterback and maybe a running back, but he's losing a lot of talent. And like I said, the main thing is the guy that installed this new offense this year that dominated went to Carolina. So can you duplicate that with somebody else? Was there somebody on the staff that took rigorous notes and knows what to do?
Well, they have video. You can go back and watch it.
Yep. You know as well as I do. Norv Turner's a perfect example. He was a coordinator underneath some great legendary head coaches and could never do it himself once he got up there. So just because you have film and you study under somebody does not mean you take it with you as you go up on that. So congratulations to Eddie O at LSU. Let's get, man. We're 10 days away, Adam, from the XFL.
The most anticipated games of the year.
So my new thing on my Twitter feed is a lot of the media guys I follow. They're like, I have no interest in this whatsoever. So yeah, that's the battle that they have to fight. And I think I'm interested in it on the business side more than the football side. I want to see these new things. I want to see all this. I'm not expecting anything out of it. What's
I want to see what the NFL steals from them next year.
Yeah, right. So they came out. We're 10 days away officially today. And then they announced their 52-man rosters, Adam.
Yes, they did.
Did you log in and follow that live on Monday morning?
I was all over it. Got to get my Battlehawk information. And
I was wondering what you were doing with that whiteboard.
I couldn't believe some certain things. I'm like, who's the quarterback? I'm like, all right, Nick Fitzgerald's there.
I told you. So I picked the DC Defenders as my team, and you picked the St. Louis Battlehawks.
Yes.
And I looked at you and I went, my team's going to suck. Cordell Jones is their quarterback. I had no idea he was trying to outfarm or anything. That's what I learned.
I'm hashtagging XFL Fantasy. I'm trying to find all. I'm ready to go.
Who's the one? So, we did the basic search because obviously we're mostly concerned about who, is names that we know to watch. And I think if this league survives 2, 3, 4 years, we're going to see more and more guys, because now the guys that are playing in the XFL are guys that haven't made it in the NFL and they've been out of college for 3, 4, or 5 years, right? So you've forgotten their names in college. So if it survives 2, 3, like this year's crop of college football guys that don't make the NFL, you'll remember most of their names when they get to the XFL now because it's so close.
Because they're right there. They were just on your TV and stuff. And
so I did a search on the most notable XFL cuts that happened. I didn't recognize one name. Not one.
Yeah. I say that I did either.
I was like, and they were saying, oh, 4 NFL teams have sniffed around this guy, and he's going to end up there someday. He's been on the practice squad, but he wants to play more. And I'm like, I've never heard of that guy in my life on there. So it was, to say the least, less interesting. However, like I said, there are names that Cordell Jones is there. A lot of first-round draft picks in the NFL were on the list. But mainly they're practice squad guys or lower guys that, year or two. A lot of the AAF guys that went defunct made the league, which is good to see. AAF folded, and they were able to make the conversion to the XFL and keep their dreams alive.
I'm ready to order my Brogan Roback jersey right now. I mean, he stacked that trailer when the Browns were on Hard Knocks. He made that trailer for the quarterbacks. He was on top of the snack patrol for that thing. So,
what team is he on?
He is on the Battlehawks. He's in that 4-way competition. He's going to emerge the leader of that team.
That was my segue to make fun of you and say that you have 4. You're the only team that has 4 quarterbacks on your squad, because congratulations, you don't have a quarterback. You have 4 of them.
When he was at Eastern Michigan, he played in 49 games. Passed for almost 8,600 yards. 57 touchdowns. Go Battlehawks. There shouldn't be a competition. I'm ready to name him the starter. Put him on my fantasy team right now.
Like, you got Connor Cook. Wasn't he Michigan State's quarterback when they were better than good? They were not winning the Big Ten, but they were finishing second, third in that range, So he's in the league with Houston Roughnecks. But they didn't announce starters or anything. So, like you said, like Landry Jones is part of the Dallas Renegades. Like I said, Cardell Jones, DC Defenders, obviously the Ohio State quarterback on there. I was going through, so the Bengals did ex-Bengals players that made the XFL. Hadn't heard of any of them. I even went through the Cardinals list of ex-Cardinals that made the XFL. Never heard of any of them on there. So
a lot of
that's what this league's going to struggle with, right?
University of Ohio players, the Ohio State University.
Wait, what now?
There's a lot of the Ohio State University players on this team, on these teams in the league.
So Matt McGloin. So they say these 3 guys, these 3 quarterbacks played for high-profile college football teams and all saw success. Matt McGloin, where did he play? Thank you for proving my point. Have you ever heard that name before?
No,
you look
I haven't.
You're struggling. Don't pretend.
I'm not even gonna fake that one.
Connor Cook, Michigan State. I know that one, and that was because Michigan State came to ASU and he was the quarterback and all that. And then Aaron Murray. Ever heard of Aaron Murray, Adam?
No, I haven't heard of Aaron Murray.
And then here's my favorite part: I
have heard of Roback though. I mean,
you what?
I heard of my guy Roback. He's right there.
Yeah,
I've heard of him. So I mean,
but it's just funny how they're. Here's the synopsis. Brogan Roback isn't too well known for his play on the field, but he was a featured player on HBO's Hard Knocks.
Hey, Aaron Murray was a 5th-round pick of the Kansas City Chiefs in 2014.
Where did he play college?
Georgia.
Yeah, I followed Georgia, and I had no idea. I kind of root for Georgia.
I mean, at some point, it's a 5th-round pick.
But this is the issue: is 2014, right? You've forgotten all about his college career,
right?
So that's why when they get these guys now, it'll be more interesting because the good guys this year that don't make NFL squads, they're going to still be fresh in your mind next year when they come around. So you're going to be like, oh yeah, because I mean, I'm going through the list of other notable XFL players like Antonio Callaway. Like I remember that name. I think he was a Cowboy. But I remember that name, but I can't place it on there. You've got Matt Jones, who was, a second rounder for Detroit, I think it was, on there. Christine Michael, running back. You've heard that name. Yeah. Obviously, that sticks with you because it's the name on there. Raheem Moore, defensive back. That's a pretty prominent name.
Andre Williams. Nick Novak, the kicker.
Will Sutton was a great defensive lineman at Arizona State that played a few years in the pros and obviously is finding like that. Scooby Wright was one of the best linebackers recently to come out of Arizona, but that's 4 or 5 years ago that he played at Arizona on the linebacking core. So this is what Marquette King, the punter, made the XFL, by the way. He was that Raiders kicker that was all flamboyant. And then John Gruden, first thing John Gruden did when he got hired was cut him on there. Antonio Callaway was a fourth round draft pick in 2018, but off-field issues led to his release. Oh, from the Browns. It was from the Browns there. Sammy Coates, I've heard that name. I don't remember, but he was a Steelers receiver. Here's my favorite. Keenan Reynolds is the former Navy quarterback who once finished 5th in the Heisman voting. What?
Let's give these guys a shot. Come on now.
I'm not saying don't give him. Yeah, Matt Jones was a 3rd-round pick in 2015. Yep. Christine Michael was 2nd-round draft pick in 2012. But that's all I'm saying is the league needs to survive this first year because then we can get guys that we're familiar with. That's going to be their struggle this year is...
There's no way this league does not survive this the first year.
I don't disagree because
Vince is all in on this. This has got a 3-year. This is a 3-year test, right?
Because Will Sutton, right? He was number 90 for Arizona State. Hell of a defensive lineman. Disrupted the offensive line. Phenomenal defensive line player. Went to the Bears and played for 3 or 4 years. Moderate success, nothing special or whatever. But I'm willing to bet you, and I don't have it in front of me, I'm willing to bet you he's been out of college for 5-6 years.
Yeah.
So I picture him as the Arizona State defensive lineman that I remember. This young guy, big guy, just stuffed the holes. He's going to be a shell of that at this point, right? How disappointed am I going to be watching this? I'm getting all excited about it, and then be like, "Oh,
I'm excited for it." That's all. I'm ready. 10 days. Let's go.
I know.
It'll be 9 when I wake. It'll be 9 when I wake up tomorrow.
So on February 8th, when they kick off, really quick, what is your expectation to see?
Slightly above college football is my hope. I'm hoping for entertainment. I'm hoping that the games are. I'm hoping for good football. I want to see these new rules. And in fact, I'm looking forward to this.
Define good football.
Slightly above college.
So you want to see a college game? What do you mean by slightly above? Faster, more.
I want to see. I'm interested a lot in the speed of the game. I'm interested in. There's a lot of things I'm interested in. I just hope the football is good enough to where you're like, what am I watching?
Because that AAF football was not.
I didn't mind it.
I mean, it was, but it wasn't. It was what it was, but it wasn't better than college.
No, it wasn't better than college, but I enjoyed it. So I'm hoping for that they can keep me entertained. That the games are as good as what the AFL was.
I'm going to equate it to minor league baseball. You go to a minor league baseball game and you watch a minor league baseball game. You're not going there to watch great baseball, right? You're not going there to see the New York Yankees World Series team of 2005 to play.
Right.
But you still go and you still have a good time. You'll watch it if it's on television because it's entertaining. You see mistakes. A guy flubs a grounder to shortstop that a professional gets every time. The guy doesn't hit as much, things like that. So it's not great, but it's still entertaining. That's all I'm expecting. It's going to be, fun to watch, but you're going to see things that you're going to get mad about because you're going to be like, how did you not catch that? Because it hits him in the numbers or whatever. And you're going to just get all frustrated because that because you're expecting NFL guys to do that. And you're not dealing with NFL guys. That's the whole point of this.
I'm waiting for Pat McPhee to give me my football information. I'm very excited for that.
Is he following that?
He's part of the broadcast team.
Because you signed that deal, right?
Yep.
Yeah. 10 days.
Joey Galloway, Tom Hart, Steve Levy.
I knew Steve
Greg
Levy was in there.
McElroy.
Yeah, Matt.
And Deanna Rosina.
I want to see the rules too, because I'm most fascinated by that by far.
I'm ready for the kickoff. Let's go.
Well, you got 10 days, buddy.
9. Almost 9. I'm going to go to sleep soon. It'll be 9 before I know it. Get through this other game that they got coming up on Sunday, and then
there's little
distraction from the XFL news that should be coming out, and then.
So before we get to NFL or Super Bowl talk for this weekend, other NFL news that hit this week. Roger Goodell says 2 games in Mexico City over the next 2 years. Participants will be announced in the next 60 days.
Mexico City or London? Where do you want to go?
Well,
if you're the player,
I don't think you do either. But you want to go to London, right?
London screws them up too bad, doesn't it?
They're both 8-hour flights.
Oh wow!
Depending where you're coming from.
I did not realize that.
Yeah,
Mexico City just seems closer for some reason.
No. Cardinals are a 6 or 7 hour flight from Phoenix.
No
get
kidding.
Down there when they play down there against the Niners.
Learned something new today in geography class. Thank you.
Mexico City's not on the. You're not playing in freaking Rocky Point, Adam.
Well, I mean, it seemed like when Rambo went there, he was there and back in like 2 hours. I mean,
that's true. He drove there. He didn't go to Mexico City, did he?
I don't know. He was in Mexico. Isn't it the same thing?
He was in Mexico. Yeah. It's a small place.
It's whatever.
Yeah. Across the border.
Listen,
I almost ended up in Guatemala.
People in Springfield, Illinois say they're from Chicago, okay? And it's like 5 hours away, so I don't even care.
Right? The problem that I have with Mexico City is that, they canceled that game 2 years ago. I just hate, it's a gimmick almost at that point. Like, if you're going to put a team someplace, I'd rather see it in Mexico City than London, but you have safety concerns and stuff like that down there. Because I just feel like you can get to and from Mexico City easier than you can London, that type of a thing. But I don't know, man. It's high elevation there. Pollution's outrageous. Fans are all into it though, so that's why you do it, right? But who's going to lose their home game? Raiders aren't, because they're in their stadium. Raiders aren't going to be involved. Chargers, right? Because they're opening up the new stadium with the Rams, and they're the visiting the renters of that stadium.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that you lose a home game and stuff. If they want to do it, maybe they do it in preseason. I don't know.
Well, that takes some of this.
Have the Pro Bowl down there
instead of Orlando.
There you go.
I don't know, Adam. I ran to the television so fast to turn from that Pro Bowl. I turned from that Pro Bowl 3 hours before it even started. That's how fast I turned from that Pro Bowl.
I slept through that Pro Bowl. I wanted nothing to do with it. I said, well, wake me up for the Rumble. Tired.
So the other news coming out is NFLPA sent out a letter telling its players to plan on a 2-year work stoppage coming up when the CBA expires.
Vince McMahon sent out an email to all the players saying the XFL is ready for you when you're ready.
Did he, or are you just
no?
saying
I'm just messing around.
Oh, I'm like, did he really?
There's an alternative.
Yeah, right.
The XFL.
Go from making $30,000 a game to $25,000 for 6.
Well, hey, when times are tough, do what you got to do.
Right. But I mean, basically what that is just the realization that we're going to, the standard talk on labor negotiations. I was reading a couple of weeks ago that the holdup's going to be the amount of games, because I think the NFL wants 18 and the Players Association said 17. Would they go to 17? But the NFL's like, no, you're getting 18 whether you like it or not. And so that's what they're going to have to negotiate. So.
Don't they have to have 18 just for the
17 with
the whole?
So I'm torn on this, right? Because now week 15 and 16, if you have it wrapped up like the Ravens, you sit everybody on 17, right? So let's say you have a 2-game lead. Are you sitting guys 2 weeks and then having your bye week?
Just think what that does to your fantasy football league too. I mean, let's be realistic.
It cost me this year, 2 weeks.
Right. I mean, do we see a repeat of the 87 season where you got the NFL scabs, we had the scab bears, what they were called?
I think the negotiation is you have more people on the roster. So players, here's what I was reading, and I don't know if there's any factuality to this. So if I just made this up, don't go reporting it. Don't give me credit for your report.
Verify your sources, people.
Is that the players can only play 16 total games. So they would expand the rosters to where you would play.
So you got to start a backup quarterback?
Yeah, so you'd have 2 games. Ugh. So then like the playoff
like
teams that lock it up would go, well, it's all about player safety, Adam. So the
football.
The teams that lock it up would have to figure out when to rest their players or something like that. But that's
terrible.
I had read that somewhere.
Well, I hope that's not true.
It wasn't my idea, Adam.
Yeah, it's terrible. So that's probably
Adam,
the worst.
I didn't make it up.
That's the worst idea I've heard all year. Okay, all year, worst idea.
I'm pretty sure I read that somewhere. I did not make that up.
I think you dreamt that one because nobody is. They're not stupid enough to do something like that.
With my ankle thing, I've got some good drugs. It's possible that
Let me tell you something. If they do this stuff and put it on, the NFL goes to do this, and I gotta watch. Oh man, I can't even think of what his name is. But the Bears' backup quarterback, I don't care what his name is, Mitch Trubisky. If I gotta watch Mitch Trubisky in 2 games next year, I'll be very upset. Mercy.
Oh, I wish we were alive so people could see Hank's Minute. Fake Hank's Minute. Fake Hank.
Would you get the name right? My name is Hawk Harrelson. Ken the Hawk Harrelson.
Why did I say Hank?
I don't know. I don't know who Hank is, but he likes his steak medium rare, right? From Hank from what is that show? Bobby's show. Bobby. You know what show I'm talking about, right? I just can't think.
King of the Hill.
King of the Hill. I kind of feel like King of the Hill sometimes.
Daddy, can I get a gun rack for my bike? Bobby, I have never loved you so much in my life. my favorite line from King of the Hill is always, "Can I get a gun rack for my bike?"
As I've detoured us off, whatever we were talking about.
So
here.
Speaking of that,
thank God we're done talking about whatever we're talking about, right?
Is Trubisky had finally had surgery on his labrum and his left non-throwing shoulder.
I figured out what it was. He'd already went over his expected medical cost for 2019, so they waited to 2020 so he could have the surgery. It's all about the financials.
Being the non-throwing shoulder, that tells me it's a quicker recovery time. And then, 2, he doesn't want to do some of the early workouts or whatever. Because, like, basketball players will do that. Like, in the NBA, they'll finish their season. Like, if they're in the playoffs,
he better be ready for OTA in April. That's all I got to say. He better be ready.
And then you have your surgery in, like, July or August. And then you're out for all the preseason and maybe the first couple games because you had surgery so late. Maybe that's what it is, man. Maybe that's what it is. He's got the playbook. He's ready to go.
To the bench, I hope. They better have a better answer, or he better play. I swear I'm not even going to start. But if Nagy does not play, if he does not play in the preseason, I will be throwing things.
I so wish we were Facebook Live right now.
Oh God, that irritates me. Man, I can't even calm down now.
Well, let's calm down because let's go into there's a small little game this weekend called the Super Bowl on Sunday. Here in Phoenix, we also get to deal with the Waste Management Phoenix Open this time of year going into Super Bowl Sunday. You haven't been out there before, but you're going to be out there on Sunday.
Yep, I'm going to be out there pushing some 1580 to Fanatic swag. Here, have a T-shirt. Rob wants you to have a T-shirt.
So you're going to see all the chicks dressed in whatever they wear.
Heard
and
it's
the guys.
I have sources that say it's been interesting so far, and it's only on Tuesday.
It's interesting every year. Yeah,
I am not familiar with this. So
we got that this week, but bigger than that because a lot of the big name guys all went to Saudi Arabia this year. So whatever, but. Obviously, the Super Bowl Sunday afternoon. Here's a little stats for you here. Obviously, the 49ers against the Chiefs. I haven't seen yet. Did the Niners get their all whites approved?
That I don't know the answer to.
I didn't see that answer either. So here's a little information from Adam Schefter on his Twitter. 49ers now join the 1988 Bengals and 1999 Rams as the third team to reach the Super Bowl after winning 4 or fewer games the previous season. Remember, I couldn't remember that stat last week.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's the little thing, little information, because I think I know who you're going with in this game, to try to scare you off that pick. According to Ed Werder, who has great stats on his Twitter page for the Super Bowl, And he says, quote, whether this is an indication of a lack in trust of Jimmy Garoppolo, confidence in a dominant running game, or perhaps some of both. Think about this. Since Garoppolo's interception against the Vikings, the Niners head coach, Kyle Shanahan, has called 15 pass plays, 72 runs. That is a head coach that does not have confidence in his quarterback. He only threw the ball 8 times in the championship game. What do you think about that?
Okay, I disagree in the confidence factor. When you have that good of a running game and you have that good of a defense, you want time of possession. They had plenty of chances. They could have picked. They traded for Garoppolo, right? They had a chance. They could have picked up Mahomes. They could have picked up what? They could have had Mitch Trubisky if they wanted him at number 2. They could have had him.
Only the Bears make that mistake.
Okay. Well, I try to pass it along to other teams at this point. Interesting thing I heard about this morning on my way into work. Who do you think? Who is the most successful current NFL head coach?
Define. What are we measuring it by?
Super
Wins
Bowl,
and losses?
Wins, losses.
Well, Bill Belichick.
Okay, exactly. That's what I was looking for. Bill Belichick said that the Patriots could have won Super Bowls with Garoppolo instead of Brady. The man that I trust with my football information just told me all I need to know, that Jimmy Garoppolo is the guy that gets the job done. And he fits into that offense.
Are you equating Kyle Shanahan to Bill Belichick right now?
Hey, I'm just passing along the information that I heard this morning. Okay,
you're saying that Bill Belichick could have won with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yes, I am.
So automatically Kyle Shanahan can win with him?
I'm saying Jimmy Garoppolo can win the Super Bowl. That's what I'm saying.
That was the worst stat I've ever heard in my life, right there.
I got more if you want. I can dig deep. That was okay. Let me talk about the last thing you talked about.
Well,
the dumbest.
Yours was worse because Kyle Shanahan. I've met Bill Belichick, and Kyle Shanahan is no Bill Belichick. Probably a political reference for everybody.
Yeah. You're having orange slices with sugar. That's what you're having right now. Anyway,
give me another stat.
I'm done giving you stats because I don't want to participate anymore because you made fun of this great situation that Bill Belichick told us that Jimmy Garoppolo is just as good as Tom Brady is what I read into that and win the Super Bowl. I can tell you right now
that if Bill Belichick was going to this Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo, I would be picking Bill Belichick to win this. However, Bill Belichick's sitting on a yacht somewhere while Kyle Shanahan is coaching this game with Jimmy Garoppolo. And that changes things a little bit. You know what I'm doing?
You know what? I was not sure of my pick up until about 30 seconds ago, and now I'm locking down on my pick just because you made me that mad about this whole situation. And I'm even thinking about going on the under on this situation at this point now.
Oh, wow.
That's where I'm leaning.
Look at that. Me pointing out facts to Adam. He gets him to change his mind.
Wrong opinions is what you pointed out. Opinions. There's no factual situation. You didn't give me a stat.
Is coaching Jimmy Garoppolo, not Bill Belichick. So that's a fact.
That is a fact. Yes.
And Bill Belichick
and Jimmy Garoppolo is still the same player that he was when either way.
Not.
Yes, he is.
No, he threw the ball 8 times last week.
That's all he needed to do.
Oh, okay.
They were playing the Packers. The Packers were the worst 13-3 team that I've ever seen. Jesus.
So, Adam,
yes.
How do you feel about the Super Bowl game this week?
Wait, are we doing pick or what are we doing here? I mean,
you can yell out your pick while you're telling me what you're expecting.
I am expecting Jimmy Garoppolo to get the job done. The 49ers defense to shut Mahomes down. Kittle to have a big game.
Wait, first of all, is this the joke?
No, this is all ready. I'm ready to go. I am all in on the 49ers. The 49ers are your 2020 Super Bowl champions.
I just thought you were joking when you said that.
No, I'm ready.
Shut down Patrick Mahomes.
Hey, it could have that defense. Bassa is insane. Tell me he's not.
Patrick Mahomes has not had a bad football game since he's been in the league.
But there's always a first, and this is the first because he's got to deal with Bassa, and that is
Bosa,
Bassa, whatever. It's the same thing. The name is spelled Bosa. However you want to pronounce it.
He's got 3 brothers in the league. You should know his name.
Well, it was close enough. I'm upset right now.
Not
you made me upset.
I know. You're like, oh
made
my
me
God.
upset on this whole situation. So
you think?
Let me tell you what.
The Niners defense is going to shut down Patrick Mahomes.
Yes. And you know what? Jimmy Garoppolo is such a team player. Him getting hurt got you Bosa. Because you wouldn't have got him if he didn't get hurt last year. And you went 4-12.
Oh, my God. You got to go get drug tested.
No, I don't need to do that. I could pass now. It's been a while since I've been home.
Have you been drinking? That's the other question. Have you been drinking?
Polar Pop.
What else is in there?
Nothing. I haven't had a drink since I've been here. That's a long time.
Define shutting down Patrick Mahomes, though. I'm kind of curious on this.
21 points, 3 touchdowns. I think 3 touchdowns shuts him down.
So are you saying they're going to shut down his running and he's going to have to pass the ball to win?
Yes.
Well, that's what he can do.
He's going to have men in his face all evening. I gotta say, well, here it'd be afternoon, right? Is that? I'm so confused still.
Yeah, what is it? 3:30 or 4?
Kickoff,
whatever.
It's always dark when we were watching in Chicago. The sun doesn't even believe in.
All I know is I leave the open and I drive home, and maybe I miss the first drive after stopping for takeout on my way to
the first 49er touchdown. That's what we're gonna miss. On the first drive of the game? Yes. Because Jimmy Garoppolo sets the tone. We don't even watch. I don't watch the Super Bowl. Listen to the podcast. I'm already going to tell you how it's going to go. In a 49er victory.
Score the first touchdown, running or passing?
Running. Because it's time of possession. It's about the team in San Francisco. Team possession.
The Niners don't have a chance to win this if George Kittle has the same game he had against the Packers.
He took that game off. He's going to be big. He's going to be big in this game. I'm telling you, he's going to be big.
They only throw the ball 8 times though, so
they've
only thrown the ball 15 times.
And where are they at? They're in the Super Bowl.
72 runs, and you think George Kittle's going to go catch it?
And Kansas City's had to come back from 24-0 What was the last time? 17.
Yeah, that I'll give you.
And if they're behind 14, if they're behind 10-0 to the 49ers in the first quarter, game over.
So now that
you can give me your wrong pick now, Steve.
Now that you've given me your fantasy picks here, what you think's going to happen?
Well, if it was my fantasy pick, the Bears would be beating up on this team at this point.
What color are the clouds in your world that you think all that's going to happen? Is the question.
It's always blue here, right?
So here's my questions. I want to see how the 49ers defense reacts to Patrick Mahomes because he's the biggest threat that they've ran into all year. They're usually going up against guys like Aaron Rodgers that can run the ball, but also if you collapse that pocket on him, he can't escape and get out anymore like he used to. Patrick Mahomes can still do magical things in the pocket to get out and get the ball out. He can throw the ball underhand, sideways, upside down. He can do a Kobe to somebody and still complete it and go. So
he's got hands in his face, not when he's on the ground.
So if the Niners are gonna have to curtail their pass rush to basically spy on Mahomes to make sure he doesn't get one of those 20 or 30 yard lines, that changes that whole defense. Then on the counter side, if they just play the way they've been playing and they just full rush him, and he gets those 20 and 30, that's a fascinating thing on that. But that Chiefs offense is so powerful. If the Chiefs are going to come out, they're never going to be down by less than 7. They're going to come out ready. I think this game, Kyle Shanahan's last Super Bowl game as offensive coordinator of the Falcons, how'd that go?
Wasn't that great?
They were up 28-3 and ended up losing the game to Tom Brady. What is Kyle Shanahan answering the most questions of this week, Adam?
He's asking them. They're talking about the return.
They're asking him how he's changed his game planning and everything since he lost a 28-3 lead against the Patriots a few years ago when he was with the Falcons. What is Kyle Shanahan thinking of? This 28-3 Super Bowl victory against a deal.
He's thinking, I got this.
He's young.
We got this.
Jimmy Garoppolo is young. And Jimmy Garoppolo, if they allow him to throw, is going to throw a couple picks to that defense of the Chiefs that is underrated. Chiefs are winning this, getting their first Super Bowl in 50 years.
Wait, before you do this, Jimmy Garoppolo.
I'm talking again.
Jimmy Garoppolo, that man is a White Sox fan. Went to Rolling Meadows High School in Illinois. How can you go against a White Sox fan and a 49er? You can't do it.
Oh, one, I hate the 49ers.
There's the bias.
No. I tried.
Bias comes out now.
I looked at this game.
Of the Cardinals.
No, because I don't care at this point.
Okay.
The Niners win. I'm not going to like it, but it is what it is. Better team won. But I literally sat down at them, and I mapped it out, and I was like, okay, I can do this. I can do that. I do not see this chess game. Andy Reid is a better head coach than Kyle Shanahan.
How many Super Bowl rings does he have? How many
does Kyle Shanahan have?
I'm asking you. You're saying he's mad. I'm just asking you how many wins. How many Super Bowl? You know what? If I had $10 to my name, I would bet you in this game.
You know what, Andy? Do you know what Andy Reid?
Got him laugh.
You know what Andy Reid's last Super Bowl victory was? I mean, last Super Bowl thing was.
What was it? When?
Well, he didn't have a 28-3 lead and the game in hand and blow it in the second half. Like Kyle Shanahan.
Well, maybe Kyle's learned from his mistakes now, and Andy hasn't made his mistakes, but he will this week.
Andy's made a lot of mistakes.
Well,
He's known as the guy there. But it's above Andy Reid at this point. It's Patrick Mahomes, baby. Patrick Mahomes, baby.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, I just don't. We'll know early on in the game how the first half is going to go because, like I said, it's going to be done by that 49ers defense. If the 49ers defense is controlling the Chiefs at the beginning of that game, Chiefs are in trouble. On the other side of it is in the second half, same thing. Whoever starts off the second half and goes is how we're going to know that. I just think Niners are young. They don't know how to win. Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't know how to win. They only had 4 wins last year.
Jimmy Garoppolo was hurt all year.
Yeah, you know why? Because he quit. He had to go home because I suck. I got to go home.
I'm sorry. And Patrick Mahomes is this
I pulled my
seasoned
badge.
NFL quarterback with 100 wins under his belt.
He's got more than Garoppolo does.
He's got more starts than Garoppolo's got.
Okay, and so he's got more wins.
Garoppolo's got more time under the Belichick tree.
But Belichick is not coaching this game. He is in the Bahamas on a yacht.
Hey, what your third grade teacher taught you? Do you remember some of the stuff still?
It doesn't matter.
Exactly. Who taught you how to write? You remember that, right?
I can go sit in a meeting today with Bill Belichick and sit there and take pages and pages of notes, videotape the whole thing, and I ain't going to go coach Super Bowl winning football teams tomorrow. It doesn't work that way.
If you plug your controller in and you play Madden, you can coach your team.
You don't absorb.
You do.
Oh, okay.
Jesus.
All right.
Anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
Whatever.
So Romeo Crennel, how did that work out? Because he was Bill Belichick's defensive coordinator for a lot of. How did his head coaching stint work out?
He didn't have the same talent that Kyle has.
Okay, now it's just kind of dumb. We're getting you drug tested. So Adam has the Niners. Do you have a score on that?
28-21.
Oh, wow. You don't think they're going to hit the over?
No, I'm going under because that defense is. Wait, 28, 21. What is that? 9. Carry the 4. Divide the 3.
Multiply by 14.
Right. It's less than 54 and a half.
Our studio audience full of teachers over here.
Now I have to look. Hold on. They told me I wouldn't have
28-21?
Yeah.
Dude, that's 49.
All right. Well, that's the under.
51's the over.
I'm tired,
right?
okay? I've been getting up at 4 a.m. all week.
Dude, use your fingers, man. You have 10 fingers, right? You have at least 8 fingers, right?
No, whatever.
So
I like to use my calculator to double check.
I think it's going
things.
over, but I think it's going over because the Chiefs are going to have You think the Niners can keep the Chiefs under 30?
Yes, I do.
Wow.
I definitely do.
Oh my God, I'm worried about your safety.
Nope. I'm telling you, you're going to be like, wow. Next week you're going to be like, I'm going to cut this audio for next week because I'm going to play it back and say, told ya!
Dude, it's going to be like 35-21 or something ridiculous like that.
You're so wrong.
They're going to be late touchdowns where the Chiefs are just
We're going to know who has their football information next week. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to have lots of XFL thoughts.
So next week we will be back with the Facebook Live when we figure out what the heck is going on with our stuff.
And if you work at Best Buy, watch out. That's all I got to say. Steve's coming, and it's not going to be pretty for you. So get your manager ready, please.
I'm going to speak to your manager. But anyway, listen to it this week. We'll see on the Super Bowl what goes on.
I need to learn how to do the gifts.
Yes.
And I get Baby Yoda talking to the guy at Best Buy.
Right.
My computer no worky work.
No worky work. Will not turn on anymore. It worked every other day this week. So, But we'll have Adam's Waste Management Phoenix Open update from Sunday on what he sees out there, because it's
special,
phenomenal. If you're
looking forward to it,
golf is secondary out there. But you can reach Adam at
Adam Michaels 05 on the Twitter machine.
Of course, you can always get up the main event. Follow us on Facebook as well as Twitter at the Main Event Pod, and of course me at SMAC500 on all the social medias. Got a lot more. Adam got a lot more active this week.
Yes.
So he's finally doing stuff.
Got a little retweet. I got to tweet it and retweeted it once or twice. I'm working on this stuff. Get into social media.
Right?
Shout out to PC and Wolf for a little PC and Wolf bump on the help there.
Yes. Get those guys in here. We'll have to do something crossover with them. Close to the draft with the Bears. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be good.
Bears
Good time.
on that?
But the Bears actually have a draft. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
we could do day 4 of the draft.
The Bears finally come up the draft.
Right. With the 712th pick of the NFL draft, the Chicago Bears take.
And that's in Vegas. Oh, who's taking the boat to the podium in Vegas for the Bears in the 4th round, the first pick? we'll have that analysis.
It's a quarterback.
We'll have that analysis coming up. So we will see y'all next week. Thanks
Go
for
Niners.
listening.